think about the possibility of a single entity for racing if the NFL wins its Supreme Court case this fall. The issue at stake is the Supreme Court exists under a court case decision that gives it an exemption from the antitrust laws. They're considered a single entity, and for that reason, they can do things like set prices, bargain collectively for all their employees, which are their athletes. They can set prices for the media. They can do all these things, which, if competitors were doing, would be high stakes and they'd go to work and go to jail. They were challenged on this by a group of American Eagle who wanted to get involved in some of this merchandising. Because the NFL says you can't do it. We're going to do merchandising and you can't be part of it. And the court upheld the right of the NFL and said you are a single entity for most purposes, so we're going to continue to treat you that way, and you're going to get an antitrust exemption. This question is saying, can the horse industry, by the same token, get an antitrust exemption because we are a single entity? And unfortunately, I'm afraid I've spent about the last hour, I don't know how long you have to do, but explaining why we're not a single entity, why we are very disparate, why we are as fractured as we can possibly be among owners, trainers, tracks, horsemen, distributors. We have so many entities that it would be impossible. We've had this looked at to argue that the industry is in any way a single entity. We are competitors, and most importantly, any track can open its doors today and run a track and race a horse without a single other racetrack. Whereas if the NFL, if it doesn't have a league, if it doesn't have other teams to play, it doesn't exist. Dallas Cowboys can't play itself in scrimmage, and it has to play other teams in the league. League sports are not a good analogy for horse racing. We're not a single entity in the same way. Doesn't mean we couldn't come to that there's not some way that we can create a single entity type argument. We've looked at that, a way to bring races together, but the single entity rule that he's asking, no, I don't think that's a solution for racing because we simply aren't a single entity. There are too many competitors, unlike